Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that looks an awful lot like magic, the effortless intuition of an expert. Turns out, it's a superpower that might just be hiding inside your brain, right now.
So let's just start with a basic question. How on earth do masters in any field, a concert pianist, a top-tier gamer, a chef, how do they pull off these incredible feats that just seem, well, superhuman? You've seen it, right? A chess grandmaster glances at a board and instantly sees the winning move. Or a Minecraft player who builds these absolutely breathtaking worlds out of simple blocks. Their brains aren't just working faster, they are literally seeing the world in a completely different way.
And here's the real secret. It isn't about thinking faster, it's all about seeing differently. An expert's brain has rewired itself to look at a whole mess of information and see simple, recognizable patterns. The same way you can spot a friend's face in a huge crowd without even trying.
Okay, let's really dive into this, because this incredible ability actually has a name, and it is the key to understanding all of this. It's a process called chunking.
So what is chunking? Well, think of it like a mental shortcut. It takes a complex jumble of individual details and kind of zips them up into one single neat package that your brain can grab in an instant. It's basically pattern recognition on steroids.
Here's a perfect example. A beginner looks at a chessboard and sees 4 separate pieces. But an expert's brain, it doesn't see 4 things at all. It sees one thing, a single, familiar pattern, a chunk, called the bishop and knight mate. And this is where that superpower really kicks in. See, most of us can only hold about 7 pieces of information in our active working memory at one time. But by chunking, an expert can hold 7 entire concepts, and each one of those is packed with tons of information. It's this brilliant biological hack that lets us bypass our brain's natural speed limit. So how does the brain actually do this? How does it build these chunks? And, is it possible some brains are just naturally better wired for it? Let's take a look at the neuroscience behind it all.
Your brain builds these chunks using what's called procedural memory. This is your how-to system. It's the same part of your brain that lets you ride a bike or type on a keyboard without consciously thinking about every single tiny movement. It's automatic. Now, this brings us to a really fascinating idea about different ways of thinking. Take this quote from Temple Grandin. She describes her mind as associative, meaning one idea instantly sparks a whole web of connected memories and pictures. This kind of nonlinear, pattern-seeking brain, which is often seen in neurodiverse minds, can be an absolute powerhouse for creating chunks.
This natural talent for systemizing, for spotting the rules and patterns in things, it creates a real advantage. It's a brain that is almost pre-tuned to find, build, and connect the very chunks that expertise is built on.
All right, so let's see what this looks like out in the real world. We'll go from the classic game of chess to the massive digital worlds of Minecraft.
A chess master isn't sitting there calculating millions of individual moves. No way. They're recognizing entire strategic chunks on the board. A concept like key squares isn't just a place, it's a whole chunk of knowledge that instantly tells them this is where you need to go to get an advantage. And you see the exact same thing happening in Minecraft. A player building some epic temple isn't thinking about placing thousands and thousands of individual blocks. No, they're thinking in modules, in repeatable chunks. They design a chunk for a wall pattern, a chunk for a roof style, another one for a tower, and then, by just combining these simple, repeatable chunks, they can build something unbelievably massive and complex. It's this incredible creativity that comes from modular thinking.
Now, here's the cool part. This isn't just a skill for grandmasters and expert gamers. It turns out, every single one of us uses chunking, all day, every day, especially when we're just listening to someone talk.
Ever wonder how you can understand someone with a really thick accent? Your brain isn't getting stuck on every single vowel or consonant that sounds a bit off. It's actually performing this amazing unconscious act of chunking to figure out the meaning.
Your brain basically becomes a detective. It uses the context of the conversation, it predicts grammar, it listens for familiar rhythms and sound patterns, and it instantly smashes all those clues together into a single chunk of meaning. It actively fills in the gaps so you understand the message, not just the sounds.
So let's tie all of this together. Why is understanding this mental trick so important for all of us?
Well, here's the bottom line. What we call expert intuition isn't some mystical gift you're born with. It's a real, tangible skill. It's what happens when you train your brain's automatic procedural memory to stop seeing millions of tiny details and start seeing a few powerful, meaningful chunks. And honestly, that idea kind of changes everything. It reframes mastery not as something you have, but as a process of learning to see the right patterns. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What incredible skill could you master if you started consciously building your own chunks today?